was quite interested. Although some of what we'd done had tackled the council, they really liked what was happening in Waterloo, or some of the more progressive councillors did. And so Peter Lane, who was a local councillor and the chair of planning, helped us get this building, Waterloo Action Centre, which had been a library until about 8 years earlier. And then 8 years earlier, then 8 years ago, the library had moved out because of the state the building was in, and moved into a porter cabin halfway down Lower Marsh.
So what year would that have been when it stopped being a library?
Well, definitely in the 1960s, because it was 1973 when we actually got the building here, but it was 1974 before we could actually use any of it because of the state it was in. We were, everyone came to help. There was nothing that one had to be careful about in this building, so we gave keys all around the neighbourhood so that everyone could come in and look and have their ideas about what to do. And somebody gave us loads of van loads of those breeze block things. You can still see them in this room. And because there wasn't so much health and safety concerns, local residents sort of put them up. Some local residents around can still remember putting up our breeze blocks all over the place. Some of them have been designed masqueraded now by putting more plasterboard looking nice on the top, but some, like in this room, you can still see. We gradually got parts of the building into use, although not all of it until, for many years. And we were determined to start how we meant to go on, so we were determined to have minority ethnic use from the start. That caused some controversy, and because the National Front was quite strong in those days. And at the meetings, white people tended to form a circle around the National Front so they couldn't be any trouble to anybody else. We also had a fire attempt at in a fairly early stage, but it didn't succeed, but we had to get rid of the letterbox, so they couldn't do it very easily before. The Bangladeshi group in this room still suffers some prejudice, but of course nowadays
When did they come in?
This particular group, about 2003, though we'd attempted to have a Bangladeshi group earlier, but so many of the other, it would have been African, Caribbean, lots of people would have been biased against them, and so much they just absorbed into our, and Waterloo Action Centre is now about 63% youth, minority ethnic usage. We wanted to be a centre for the whole community, but we also wanted to make sure that poorer people didn't get squeezed out in that, as they sometimes do, or poorer or less disadvantaged. So we ourselves decided directly to run advice services and directly to run older people's activities. And the rest, we wanted people to come in and run for themselves. So we are a sort of community centre with those particular things we do ourselves. We try and also make it easy as possible for people to come in and hire staff by trying to keep the cost down and do a lot voluntary and so on. In fact, we were quite lucky, of course, when we started, because so many of the people involved had been through the war and they were used to being poor, so they used to do everything by the most frugal route. So we have quite a lot of frugal policies built in, and the whole lot now, although we're open 7 days a week and we have about 21,000 different users, different people using the centre in a year. We still run the whole lot for only just over 200,000 a year, of which only a tiny bit is actually public money.